guys figure out how to get another form up?
Did you just refresh the page?
Yeah, you
Okay.
yeah, it should work.
All right.
Let's see if that works. Yep, that works. Just
Nice.
refresh it. Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
Go for it,
Let's
Jeff.
do it.
All right. Who in here loves to go to sports games? Big athletes, you like to go watch people play?
Oh, yeah.
So I love going to a good sports game, football game, baseball game, soccer game, especially when it's a nice day outside like it is today. And so me and my friends, we went to the Pro Bowl probably like 2 years ago, and it was super cool. And so we get there, we get our seats, we have great seats. It's a nice day out. I'm rooting for the people that are in the Atlanta Falcons. That's the only people I know. So rooting for them, and the game starts, and all of a sudden a plane flies by. But it's not just any plane. It's one of those planes that have like the long flag on the end of them that have all those like words on it. And so we're trying to figure out, what is this plane trying to speak to us? Like, what is on the words on the flag? So my friends, we're trying to read it, and it's like blowing in the wind, the plane's doing flips, and so we're trying to keep up with it, and finally, we read what it says, and it says, go vote for blah, and for blah, and I was like, that was so irrelevant to me. I spent all this time trying to figure out what this plane was speaking to me, because I thought it would be important, thought it would be relevant to me, and it wasn't. And so then I go back to watching the game, and I realize that I just missed like 3 touchdowns the first quarter. This person's injured, and I just completely just missed the first 5 minutes of the game. And so the same thing happens in a story in the Bible in Matthew 14:29 through 31. This man got super distracted in the middle of this game. And so we're going to look at the scripture, and it says in these verses, he said, come. So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried out, Lord, save me. Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took a hold of him, saying, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? You see, Peter was in the middle of a game. He was in the middle of a miracle. He was in the middle of a blessing when he got distracted and started to drown. You see, I've never played that game of walking on water before, but I could imagine that it was a pretty serious game. And so he took his eyes and he saw the wind. The important part of this verse is saw. And that's so important because it was what he was focusing on that caused the outcome of what he was doing. And so what Peter saw distracted him from the miracle. What we see will either keep us walking in the miracle or it can distract us from it. Same thing happens in our walk with God. We can be in the midst of a miracle. We can be in the midst of life-changing events. We can be in the midst of seeing people change, and we can get distracted. We can get distracted by culture. We can get distracted by people's opinions. We can get distracted by social media and scrolling and seeing what they're doing. We get distracted by these things. So what are you focusing your eyes on that is causing you to miss the miracle instead of looking at Jesus? When we stop looking at the distractions, we get to walk in the miracle that God has for us.
That's good.
Think about the things John saw in heaven, the visions that he got in Revelation. It says in Revelation 4:10 through 11, the 24 elders fall down before him, who is seated on the throne, and worship him, who lives forever and ever. They cast their crowns before the throne, saying, worthy are you, O Lord, and God, to receive the glory and the honor and power. For you created all things. By your will they existed and were created. You see, John saw these things. He saw these visions. He saw what heaven is going to look like, and he wasn't distracted by anything else. And now we, because we have this book of Revelation, we get to see these visions too. We get to see what's important in our lives and what it looks like to walk in miracles. What is important is to be at God's throne and to worship him. That's what we need to set our eyes on. That's what we need to be focused on. Culture will always try and distract us because the enemy doesn't want you to see what God has for you. The enemy doesn't want you to stay focused on his throne. He doesn't want you to be in that posture of worshiping, so he will throw distractions at you. He'll throw storms in your life. He'll throw people's opinions, and he'll get you to compare, and he'll get you in this loudness of culture and trying to distract your focus. But we need to stay focused on what God has called us to and stay focused on the miracle. So I want to challenge you guys today to check your eyes. What are you seeing that is distracting you from the miracle that God has for you? Is it people's opinions? Is it the noise of culture? Because what you see will either keep you walking in a miracle or it'll distract you from it. Thanks.
It's good.
Right. Good job, Jess.